Well, I'm Don Grace, the head of Thacher Montessori School, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the annual Next Level Night, asking them, tell us a strength you carried away from Thacher, tell us something you struggled with, and tell us how Thacher nurtured something in you that helped you through that struggle. Lots of positive parent feedback about the panel presentations, and then along with that parent feedback, really a number of parents saying, I wish I could hear from the parents of alums about that experience, about the transition. So we listened and have now assembled a panel of parents of alumni. Two of those parents actually still have current current students as children in.
My name is Judy Farley McFadder, and I am a parent of two alums, James, who's a freshman at Wheaton, and Mark, who's a junior at Newman, the Newman School in Boston. And I have an 8th grader here. His name is Kyle. Actually, I should say my husband and I have 3 children here. And happy to talk to you about our experiences.
My name is Richard Fagami. My daughter Antonella attended Thacher from the earliest stages of Children's House all the way through the last year of AP. She's currently at Needham High School in her junior year. And I think she misses Thacher.
My name is Wilson Green, and I also have an alum that graduated from me a few years ago. That's him calling me right now. But his name is Christian Green. He's now a junior at CSW. Came to school up in Western Mass, and I also have an 8th grader that's part of the AP program here as well.
At an entry point, or should we wait? And I was most concerned in that he was so nurtured here, and when should that change to the real world happen? And what I've learned over the course of time, now James has been out of Thacher 5 years, although he still misses Thacher, and Mark has been out 3 years, is that transition happens regardless of where your child is, whether it is at Thacher or whether they leave and go on to, and they each were prepared extraordinarily well for the next phase, which was my biggest worry when they move on to high school. And they still look back to these 2 years as the greatest 2 years of their lives. No matter what my husband and I do, the 7th and 8th grade are better than none because they had independence, they were allowed to have an incredible growth and sense of self, they gained confidence, they have friendships that really are just second to none, regardless of how many other schools and experiences they had. Their Thacher friends that they nurtured in the 7th and 8th grade are the strongest.
As we sat there deciding whether to go to the AP level, we all had the same questions. How do you not do homework? These kids don't know how to take tests. What's going to happen with the standardized test? It was scary because we don't know. We see what everyone else is doing. We see your friends taking tests and getting stressed out. We're seeing your friends doing homework. But we chose to stay. And the idea of staying is, I think it's like being a horse with blinders on. In regular education, it seems like they want you to teach you and feed you what they want you to know. And if you try to stray, that's frowned upon. Whereas here, let's hear your opinion. Let's hear your voice. Let's hear you, because things come out better when you have different views of things. So we're very happy we stayed. And when I asked my daughter last night to comment, her response was, it was seamless. I think that was a nice response. I don't know if it was so seamless because there are changes, but she's in all honors classes. She's doing great. She made friends without any problem. She got involved in activities without any problem. So I think the environment that you're in is a great environment to be in. And don't have any doubt that when it's time for them to move on to the next level, that you can throw the bird out the window and have them fly, they'll fly.
So we wanted to put an environment in which he would feel comfortable to be his own voice. PSW had that appeal. Small environment, 300-400 students. And after the first semester, my wife and I were biting our nails, thinking, did we make the right decision? After the first 30 days, we both hugged each other and did a dance. Why? Because it was great to see him in an environment in which we knew he would succeed. We knew he would succeed because he had the proper training, discipline, and all the other skills that Thacher gave him in order to succeed. The thing I'm trying to say is each student is unique and different in their own way, whether you have a daughter or a son. And leaving Thacher is a scary thing. Going up to the next level is a scary thing. But the one thing that I would sit here and tell you is that whether you're leaving Thacher or going to the next level, those kids are going to have the skill sets that they need to success.
I found that every year that my daughter was in school, that was what was the best friend. The first year of Children's House, the second year of Children's House was a different best friend. The third year was somebody else. So what seemed like an indispensable relationship, it always changed. I'm not sure if you've been experienced that yourself or it's been one person the whole time, but.
For us, it's a mix. My boys have friends. One of my son Mark's best friends is Joy's son Dan Tardif. They've been together since Children's House, and they went to different high schools. They still get together. For my son James, one of his best friends is Dylan Hughes. He left in the 6th grade, but they still get together. They're part of a band together. And some of his friends that left in the 1st and 2nd grade, he keeps in touch with. I think it's just the nature of life, but it also it gives, they have the skills of building friendships, making friendships, transitioning. They also have many good friends that they met in high school and now college, but I think given the choice, their heartbeat remains here. My son was here at the open house on Saturday. They love their experience here.
There seems to be a misconception out there in terms of what the Thacher Montessori experience is all about. Some schools are well versed on it, some schools aren't. One of the biggest misconceptions I've come across is that Thacher is an environment where you're cuddly, feely.
I had a different experience. As our boys applied for high school and James even for college, Montessori meant a lot for his college application actually, because he goes to Wheaton College and they actually have a similar framework of education because it works. And that's when we spoke with their dean of admissions, she loved that he had Montessori experience because her experience, to quote her, Montessori children typically love to learn. And they love the students that come from a Montessori background because they know how to learn. So I think some schools we did need to discuss because Montessori isn't well known in a lot of the traditional schools, but the student speaks for themselves as an applicant, and once they meet our kids and they shake hands and make eye contact and have that strong sense of self and how can I, what do you need to know from me? That's pretty special and very unique.
I would agree. I think our kids shine. They're used to interacting with adults all day long. They're not used to just hanging out with kids. They can interact with the admissions people. We had no problem getting admitted to schools. It's the ones, hey, can you give us some money to come to some of these schools? That was the real question. But the admission.
One of our alumni panelists last year said a strength he carried away from Thacher was understanding how a school could be a community. And when it came to what challenge he had, he said, I wish my new school would have been more of a community for me. And then when he came to the third question, it was, the thing that Thacher nurtured in me is the ability to do something about creating that sense of community in my new school.